Hey everybody, would just like to wish you guys a happy new year, as the day I'm recording this is January 2nd, excuse me, January 2nd of 2021. In 8 days, on January 10th, will be my 22nd birthday, and I would just like to wish everybody a Happy New Year and so forth. This year will be quite interesting to see how things are with the way 2021 with COVID and all that mumbo jumbo. We got the vaccine rolling out, which is good. We got a lot of decent stuff. New year. Not going to say new me, because everybody damn sure knows I'll be the same jackass that I was last year and the year before that. But before the new year actually started, I've actually tried to make strides in bettering my overall health, as I do have a heart disease, as I've mentioned in my previous videos, and I just started doing some light exercising and trying to cut back on the amount of junk food and stuff that I've eaten, as I'm trying to eat healthier and just overall be healthier, so I don't let my health spiral too out of control and try to keep it somewhat in control. And leave in the comment section below what your New Year's resolutions are. We'll have a new president in 18 days. I'm assuming. Not necessarily happy about that one, but it is what it is. As the damn Senate Republicans couldn't come to an agreement to vote on the $2,000 stimulus package that was passed by the House, but decided to make their own bill and are going to vote on it that has the three things that Trump wants: the $2,000 stimulus checks, what's the other? Damn, I'm having a blank on the other two. One had to do with the look into election fraud, which I will get in a second, and can't remember what the other one is. Sorry, I'm running a blank on that. Damn, it's bright out here. Well, now I can't really see. Can't think of what the other one is, unfortunately. If I think of it, I'll say it in a few minutes. But, yeah, and going to look into the election fraud, Ted Cruz is actually, leading a coalition in the Senate with a few other Senate Republicans to challenge the Electoral College results on January 6th, when they're supposed to be certified, and do an emergency audit. So that'll be interesting to see. As much as I would love to actually have that come to life, because I think Joe Biden would be one of the most incompetent presidents ever, with Kamala not even being a good choice for even the second president if something were to happen to Biden. My personal opinions. And I do think there was election fraud. To the extent that it would overturn an election, I honestly don't know about that, but the amount of fraud seen in this election is baffling. Very, very baffling. Adjusting the phone holder. It's just absolutely baffling. Pennsylvania did a lot of sketchy things. Wisconsin was going toward Trump, and then all of a sudden, randomly in the middle of the night it went back down to, why the hell are you not staying? Went towards Biden. All of a sudden, within a span of a few hours in the middle of the night, and that one was also quietly tested in the final results of it. And the thing that bothers me is that the Democrats through Trump's presidency kept yelling Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia. Goddamn Russia. It's always the Russians' fault. When after he was elected and through his first 2.5 years, and even still somewhat now, yelling Russia. And the second Republicans say there's any sort of fraud at all in this election, oh no, it was a fair and free election. Yeah, bullshit it was. Sorry, but that's my personal opinion. You can't have it both ways. Or no, I said that wrong. What I meant to say is, it has to be both ways. Oh, that's really bright. It has to be. You can't be screaming Russia for 3 to 4 years, and then the second Trump and his team and Republicans start talking about voter fraud, start yelling and saying no, it was a fair and free election, and you get over yourselves. You didn't get over yourselves from the time Trump won in 2016 to now. You can't get over yourselves now. And it's absolutely just frustrating me. Seriously. It goes both ways. And there was no evidence for Russia at all. And in this election, there is, while maybe slight evidence, there is evidence for voter fraud in 2020. There is, and that's just absolute truth about it, that there is voter fraud. To the extent, I don't know. Maybe there is enough to overturn an election. Maybe there isn't. But we would have to wait and see for all these audits and all these recounts and all these investigations to go through. And the investigation with Russia led absolutely nowhere. But yet they kept screaming it. They kept saying there needs to be an investigation. I think, if I remember correctly, as I do these videos without any research or anything, it's just pretty much my opinions. If you guys haven't realized that I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, there's either 2 to 3 different investigations on Trump and Russia, and all 3 of them led nowhere. And the final script or whatever you want to call it pretty much says that there's no evidence for it. It's just absolutely baffling. We need to have accountability. I don't care who's in office, who was president and vice president-elect. We just need accountability. And that's something I think we desperately need in this country, and we're not getting enough of it. These are 60 to 80-year-old men yelling at each other like freaking 3-year-olds. We need to have accountability in the White House, in our elections, in Congress, in the Supreme Court. We just need accountability as a country. This country was founded on no taxation without representation. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know about you, but I have not felt like I've been represented by my representatives here in Minnesota. I've actually have been very into political congressional term limits. And I even wrote a letter to my representatives in the House of Representatives, which would have been Betty McCollum for me, and then in the Senate, Tina Smith and Amy Klobuchar. I got one letter back. One letter back. And that was from Amy Klobuchar. And essentially said, I don't have the letter anymore. I don't remember exactly how it was worded. But it was pretty much like, thank you for writing to my office. But I'm trying to remember. Okay, I'm going to pretty much tell you how it came across to me, my mom, and my dad. All three very politically different people. We're pretty much the way all three of us read it as, thank you for writing to our office, but we don't care. Obviously not in those exact words. As a politician, one probably wrote by her aide. So who knows if it even got to Amy. So I doubt she actually read it. This ramp is a little slippery. And probably wrote by her aide. She probably didn't read it. And I spent a lot of time doing research on the topic. Writing up a good, it was 8 pages long about why we need term limits, all my sources, all my arguments for it. And yeah, I even sent it to other members in Congress. I know I sent it to Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, and someone from, can't remember. I've looked it up and sent it to a few different. I've been a huge fan of Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz for a few years now, which is why I sent it to them. And then I also looked up a few other different members of the House of Representatives and sent it to. I don't remember. This was 3 years ago. But yeah, our senators and our congressmen and women are just absolutely not even there for the people anymore. And that's pretty much what I was trying to get across. And the funny thing about actually sending that letter out was actually after sending that letter out, I read an article so I also sent it to Ted Cruz, and Cruz actually about 3 weeks after I sent it. I don't know if he read it. I don't care if he read it, but this is kind of actually cool. He actually gave a speech about why Congress needs term limits and created a term limit proposal, which obviously got nowhere. But it was actually pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool because I sent him that letter, then about 3 weeks later, he just is all of a sudden giving a speech about why Congress needs term limits and propose a term limits amendment. And I thought that was just absolutely cool. I am hopeful that someday Congress will get term limits, but the only issue I see with that is that for a new amendment that has to be approved by 2/3 of both houses of Congress plus 2/3 of the states, and for Congress to even come up and vote for that, I think is pretty unlikely now. But I'm very hopeful that in a few years that can be the case. But yeah, that's all I think I got for you guys. No, most of the time when I make these videos, which I know hardly anybody will read, I cannot talk. I know hardly anybody actually watches these, but kind of just gives me something to do on my way home from work. And I don't care if anybody watches them, because just like putting information out there. Because politics is all about opinions, about what you think should be policy, what you think should be laws and stuff of that nature. It's all just opinions, and I think that Congress and politicians just in general need to go back to the old way of doing things, where they don't think about party lines, where they don't think about what will get them reelected, and start doing things that they actually believe in and actually stand for. And I think we're starting to lose that, and I do think there's a few politicians who actually do stand up for what they believe in. Ted Cruz being one of them, Marco Rubio being another, Lindsey Graham, Rand Paul. Granted, I listed Republicans right there, but there are some Democrats I do think actually. Tulsi Gabbard, something like that. I think she's from California or Hawaii. I don't remember. She's a Democrat. She stands up for what she believes in. But I think we're starting to lose that in DC. We need more politicians that will actually do what is right for the people and actually do what they believe in. But because we're losing that, and I think that was the founding of American politics. Back, George Washington, our first president of the United States, he refused to belong to any political party. Obviously, as historians have said, that he leaned more Federalist. He was never technically a Federalist. He was an independent. He had no political affiliation. He thought that would be the downfall of American politics, and we're starting to see that now. And I think America has a two-party system, and not technically, as there's a lot of third parties, but America as a whole is generally a two-party system, and that's because a lot of people are divided down the middle. And then people start going more towards what third party, so they may believe in some things that the Republicans believe in, some things that Democrats believe in, and still end up leaning towards Democrats because they don't want to be outed by their party. DC is so corrupt, and it's so saddening, and I think we need term limits in Congress. We need people to actually start doing what they believe in and not worry about party lines. That is my little rant for today. Missed yesterday because of New Year's Day, but oh well, getting back in it. So I want to thank everybody for watching if you got up to this 20-minute mark. And I want you guys to have a wonderful New Year, and have a wonderful day, and keep being dudes and dudettes. See ya.